if you look at Holy Human's base, you can see that he's making an Arcane Sanctum in addition to his second two heroes. Holy Human is having to branch out and abandon this workshop idea because all of his tanks have been countered, his flying machines have been countered. Now it's time for him to try something else. So I mark this as a huge success just on the Night Elf side of the map. It just goes to show that all of these little decisions and all of this very thorough playing that Chapoti has been doing has eventually paid off, that Holy Human is actually being forced out of the workshop units. So you'll notice that the Keeper is doing just a little bit of creeping at the Goblin Laboratory, which might seem like an odd decision at its level 7, but you get a whole bunch of gold, you get some items, you get availability to another Goblin Laboratory. Not a bad way to spend your time, considering that there's not much else that he could be using the Keeper and Bears for on the south side of the map right now. It was a convenient thing to do. And again, in the top right, we have a metamorphosized Demon Hunter who is playing a huge role. Holy Human has 8 towers there in very good position. Running Bears into that would be a heck of a mess. They'd be out of position, they'd be getting focus fired by the towers, and he would be having to staff them, rejuve them, and everything else just to try to get them to stay alive. But in this case, just a metamorphosized Demon Hunter, and he's able to take down most of the towers, and force Holy Human to run home. And now, again, Chapoti sees what he's up against, with now Knights and 3 heroes. And now, of course, he will. So he'll bring his Bears into the fight, and finally in this game have something of an army-on-army fight. But one of the big games, and this is actually a pretty important point to make. One of the big games on Lost Temple is guessing what the human player is going to do next, because you don't know what he's going to throw at you. Another thing we didn't see this game is Mass Griffin Aviator units, Dragonhawks and Griffins. We haven't seen that in this game, but it's another viable option. He could switch to Rifle Caster, he could switch to Knight Mortar, he could switch to any number of things with any number of heroes. And it's important to always try to stay one step ahead of the game. Now, scouting with Wisps is helpful, but the simplest way to do it, which we've seen Chapoti do all game long, is to make sure that you never get completely on the defensive. As long as you're being the aggressor and you're putting pressure on one of his expansions, you're going to force him to show his hand, and you're eventually going to see what he's up against, because he's going to want to use whatever units he has available. And so you force him to show his hand, you see what those units are. And so Chapoti has done that, and so he's always been able to see what he's up against before it kills him, which is always the challenge on this map. Excuse me for a second. So Chapoti again, using his Bears and his DH to take down a bunch of peasants very, very quickly with Rejuve and Immolation. And now he's going to go ahead and take down the hall of Holy Human out there. Of course, like I said before, it's important to always take down the hall. You don't always have to use your whole army, but in this case, Chapoti figures, hey, why not? Because he's getting back into pretty good control of this game. He has expansions at the top and bottom. He knows the top left corner is done for, and he has an expansion. He's taking control of the very top expansion where Holy Human originally had those big fights, and so just counting the spaces on the map and using Reveal at the Goblin Laboratory, which I believe Chapoti just did, which is, by the way, another useful tool. You should always have a Wisp at the Goblin Laboratory on this map, because you never know when you're going to need a Reveal. Using Reveal on the additional mines lets Chapoti know that he, in fact, has prevented Holy Human from getting any gold at this point. Holy Human has no income. And so all he has to do is make sure that he doesn't lose a fight. And the way that you do that is running in with making sure that you have TP scrolls, staffs, all that sort of thing. And Chapoti, running into this situation, has his Town Portal Scroll on his Keeper as opposed to his DH because he didn't actually have a Staff of Preservation on his Demon Hunter. He did have a Staff of Teleport, however, so that'll be a good item configuration to make sure that both his heroes stay alive. And he runs into that fight just trying to see what units he can pick off, but with no intention of actually ending the game because, like I said, all he needs to do is not die. And now, again, he knows exactly what he's up against, and he's just, at this point, he's just pumping units now from his Ancients of War. He's starting to make Dryads, which he hasn't made all game, but it's just countering. Now he's countering the casters and the heroes and water elementals with Dryads. And now, at last, we have a fairly sizable army-on-army fight where Chapoti punishes that last-dish effort with Immolation and Metamorphosis on the Demon Hunter. Holy Human, in the end, ran out of gold, and Chapoti had lots of expansions and all the advantages. Holy Human was out of options, and Chapoti came out on top. Wow. Wow, how about that? I apologize, by the way, if that audio commentary fell into something more of a shoutcast from time to time. I tried to make sure that I stayed on the strategy aspects, but it's difficult in a game where that much is going on. Sometimes you only have time to say what's happening before you can talk about why it's happening. But no need for excuses. That was a very, very interesting and multitasking oriented game. So the moral of the story here is that Chapoti and Holy Human are both very, very good players, and despite all of the supposed advantages of Human and supposed disadvantages of Night Elf on this map, Chapoti was able to win the game, and Holy Human played well. You know, he used his resources well. He used, like I said, almost all the tools at his disposal to go after Chapoti, and Chapoti was able to win, not really due to any glaring faults by Holy Human, in my opinion, but just by outplaying him, just by playing him that much better, just by multitasking that much better, using items, using all those things that much better, and he was able to come out on top over what, in my opinion, looks like a very, very, very difficult thing to play against. Holy Human doing that on this map has got to be one of the scarier things I can think of in terms of things that I wouldn't want to play against myself. So Chapoti just making lots of good small decisions, always staying on top of things, never letting himself get completely in the defensive, and staying aggressive whenever he had the chance, forcing Holy Human to tip his hand, and never slacking on any of the defensive measures. You know, he never let up and just didn't protect an expansion. You know, he always had extra wisps. He always had Ancients of War. He had Ancient Protector if necessary. He made the Ancients of Wind as soon as he saw his first flying machine. All that sort of thing. Each of those little things is incredibly important in the end. So you just got to take it step by step, and always be sure that you are answering everything that your opponent is doing, and if possible, anticipating his next step and answering it before he even does it. So that's enough talking for now. This has been a very, very long commentary, and I'm curious to see what you guys think of this. If you've lasted this long, many props to you. This is Balance from WCReplays.com. I will see you guys next time.